Today I thought we were going to work on a little sketchbook spread in this journal. It is a hot press watercolor journal, so yeah. I'm going to use a set of watercolor that I have made myself. This is the Allmoge set, and the missing color here is Gustav. I have used Gustav up. I have more out to dry, but I don't use a lot of green these days. Right now there is just a lot of not green, so yeah. But I actually think I'm going to use Svea and Stig for most, because I want to make some animal prints. I'm going to use this palette. I will have it linked down below. It is by Caitlin, and I usually have her stuff linked below because I'm a bit obsessed. She makes beautiful stuff. So what I want to do here is to have like a winter spread. You can see I've already put a little sticker here. That is from my post stamp Swedish nature sticker sheet that I have up in the shop, and I was printing more because they had sold out, and I was like, I love that stamp, and I was like, oh yeah, I made that. Yeah, I'm a bit surprised. When you shrink down your art, it looks really good. What I want to do is have a little bit of a just sort of right now moment in this spread. I am out walking quite a lot with my dog Albert, and we see a lot of animal tracks when we go out, because we live out in the country, and I thought it would be really fun to make sort of a page where we sort of gathered them, a few of them anyway. Now, one thing that I love when it comes to painting is learning things, and I love that with painting I can sort of combine my love for learning and love of painting. I suppose we can start with the biggest one, and I'm just going to make them into sort of rough shapes. I have mixed Svea and Stig here to get sort of a neutral grey. So I thought the biggest animal that we have here is an elk or a moose, and they have very distinct, easy to recognize tracks. Looks a little bit like a bean. Now, of course, the animal tracks will look different depending on how hard they press down, what type of snow we have, if there is snow, how big the animal is, but roughly they look a little bit like a coffee bean. Now, you can also get, I'm going to paint them in here, these little marks back here. They don't always show up, but like I said, sort of depending on how hard they sort of press down. These tracks I see quite often when I'm out walking. Another one I see quite a lot that is a little bit smaller, that is the deer or roe deer. And they look very similar, but they are a little bit more long and narrow, I would say, or a little bit more heart-shaped maybe is the right word. And the biggest difference, of course, between these two is that these ones is a lot smaller. And these two can also have those, you know, in the back of the, on the hoof, do you call it that? When they press down. So those I see quite a lot. Another one that is very common that you can see all over, the hare. We have quite a lot of oh gosh, we have quite a lot of hares here. And here I've just made one because they look sort of the same, but with the hare, what is very easy to recognize is the pattern of which they put down their feet. So we have these are the back feet, and they are typically sort of up front. So they stick down their front paws like that, and then they jump up with the back legs that you see here. And I'm just going to sort of make the pattern of that, and then of course it will repeat. Another animal that we have had here, I haven't actually seen any tracks of this animal like around our house, which I'm very happy about, but it is the lynx. They are amazingly beautiful animals, very much very beautiful, but I don't want them here. But we do have them very near. I just got news, well, I heard yesterday, so it is Sunday when I'm filming this, and yesterday, Saturday, I heard from our neighbor, they lost 4 sheep yesterday from the lynx, so they have lost about 15 in total this winter. And of course others have also, I did it wrong, have lost sheep. And we actually have a neighbor who sort of sent away all of their sheep. They were like, there's no point in having them anymore because the lynx just keeps taking them. So our neighbor now has 4 left, I think, which I think they started out with 15 or 20, I can't remember. But yeah, so that is yeah. So that is something we had here. We also Herman, our dog, he has also been in contact with the lynx. So the lynx, side note, well actually on point note, the lynx, as you can see here, what I made a mistake here is that these little toe beans, they're not symmetrical. So for example, the left front has this paw that is longer or more arched. So when you're looking at it, this one is longer on the left, so just like my hand. So on the right, my longest one is this one, so it's going to be longer. So I'm going to make the right one too. So yeah, so Herman, he had an encounter with a lynx. Luckily he got a few bruises and nicks and all of that, but it wasn't too bad. We apparently have quite a lot of lynx here in the southwest, so there will probably just be more attacks. Now in Sweden you can shoot in self-defense, so if you see the lynx taking your animals, your sheep, your dog, you can shoot, but you still need to go to trial. There will be an investigation to see if you acted correctly. It's not my best work, but keep in mind they are like walking in the snow. Another track, luckily I have not seen here, but that is very similar to the lynx, that can be easily to sort of confuse, is of course the wolf. Let's make some more paint here. The similarities between lynx and the wolf is of course that you have the body of the or sort of the heel of the paw is looking very similar, and it also of course looks very similar to a dog, because the wolf and the dog is related, so they have this very cute little, so we have this. But in difference to the lynx, the wolf has symmetrical spaced their toe beans. I don't know if that is correct terminology, but we'll go for it. See, we're going to add in, you can see the claw marks usually. We also have, I actually haven't seen this one either, and that is, if we're speaking of like these type of print, we actually have foxes, of course. We should add the fox so it doesn't feel left out. And the difference here is that it usually has a very narrow... That was a deep sigh. Put in toe beans. Let's do another one that we don't have here, but I think is really fun. When we talk about these types, you can find up in the north of Sweden a track that looks a little bit more like this, and that is a reindeer or a caribou. We don't have a lot of those down here. Oh, you can also see, if we take a really tiny brush here, these little tracks, you can see quite a lot too. And that is the little birds. Another animal that we do have here that I'm not very happy about. Is there any animal I like to have here? Yes, but not the ones that destroy a lot. And this animal destroys a lot. Both like gardens, I suppose, but mostly for us it's about the crop and the woods. And that animal has a track that looks like this. And that is the wild boar. We have a lot of wild boar here. They are very destructive in how they live. It's not very fun, to be honest. But so this one I'm making now, it's not like accurate, but it's to represent Albert. And then down here, I'm thinking we can do mine too. Now I can't remember what pattern I have on my walking boots. So I'm going to mix a similar mixture here that is Svea. Svea is just blue ultramarine. And Stig is a raw umber. This is just my favorite go-to neutral darker mix. So I'm just having that here on my brush, and what I want to do is just add a little bit of a shadow, like where it would be the darkest of a shadow. Now when we have prints like the hair, you very rarely see the specific, like the actual stamp of the foot, because there's so much fluff around it, you know. And that is the same for the wolf, for the lynx, and for the dog, or depending on what type of dog it is. Usually you have a little bit of an outline because, you know, they have a lot of fluff around. And I'm just going to do this so that we can more clearly see. But yeah, they have a lot of fluff. I think that looks pretty cute. And then what I want to do, just so we get a little bit of a sense of it being in snow, I'm going to add in a little bit more of ultramarine. And what I really love about ultramarine here is that because it is granulating, you can get that snowy effect, because snow is not just flat like this paper. Snow, you know, gets the texture, and we can use the effect of this granulating glue to get that. So I'm going to paint around all of this print, but I'm going to leave like a white area around it. So, you know, when they press down, of course, the snow that is not pressed down will be up, and that will catch the light. Here, that will still be up, and that will catch the light, and that's why we have the shadow. So I'm going to vary how much pigment I place down in order to get that, partly so that it's easier to see, but partly so we can get that sort of snowy effect. Okay, so there we have our tracks that you can find in Sweden. I think the most common one is or maybe the little dog. So this, of course, will have to dry. My little wash here. When it comes to doing like a big wash, you can see it's not perfect. This paper is not good for making good, like big washes. It dries very, very quickly. The brush I'm using, it is a number 7. The travel brushes that I have in the shop. I don't know why, but I just really enjoy it being metal. I feel like I like the weight of it in my hand. So I have all of them. I have got a few questions about like reviewing those brushes, and I'm like, I can't really review them because I sell them. So of course I'm just going to say, or people are just going to assume that I say, oh, they're amazing, just so I can sell them. I think they're good. I think they are, for the price, they're good. They're not excellent, they're not the best quality, but for what they are, I really like them. And that's sort of my my stance on that, I suppose. Yeah. I mean, they're a travel brush, they're lightweight, but I like that it's metal. You can get them in different sizes, they hold their point nicely. They're nylon tip, so they will hold a medium amount of water. If you like to have a lot of water, then go for something more natural, Kolinsky or a squirrel. So on the rest of this page, I thought I was going to use this watercolor pencil to make a little sketch. And I thought, what a better thing to fill this space with than a little portrait of myself and Albert when we are out on a walk. So of course I always find it a little bit challenging to do a self-portrait because I don't do a lot of human drawings. So that's also why I'm using this watercolor pencil, because this one is very forgiving. This is the Wild Mushroom by Nuvo, and I just really enjoy this color because, as you can see, it's very, very light, but it has like a warm undertone, so yeah, it melts away really nicely, I think, anyway. Trying to do the proportions right, and what I want to have here is my fancy dressing when I go out. I have my little nice, these are actually riding boots, like I bought them from where you buy riding clothes. And then I have a thermal skirt, but it doesn't reach all the way down, so you can see my sweatpants that I have underneath. One hand I need to hold Albert. I'm a dog owner and responsible, so in this cartoon I will have him on a leash. I do have him on a leash when we are in town. I need to figure out more places. But yeah, when we are like walking on a road, he is obviously on a leash. But other than that, it is mostly woods and fields here. So then he is not on a leash. And I have a little bit of a double chin, so I'm going to add some lines there. And then I have quite curly hair, so let's make sure that it gets all frosty when I'm out. I do look quite short here. Well, I am pretty short, so I shouldn't say anything. Oh, and then yes, we have Albert. Let's see, should he just be sitting next to me? Or should we have him do something? He is pretty much always just doing whatever he wants, so he should probably not be looking at me. He should be looking at something else with his little... He has a little curly hairdo, and he always has this blue thick coat on. Partly he's pretty short cut right now, but he has also been in a car accident this November, so right now we are doing rehab. That's why we're in town, by the way. He's doing a lot better, but that is also why we out walking, usually living like we do out in the country. I would just let him out, like on the garden, but he is not allowed to be out in the garden because he's too wild, so he needs supervision when he's outside. So let's start with making like a little type of skin-ish color. Okay, let's see how this one... Oh, that's not right. Okay, it's a little bit better, I suppose. So I'm just going to lay down. And then my jacket, I think the best bet is to mix Svea with this green that is Helge. Close enough. You can see here also the color doesn't flow a lot. It sort of stays where I put it, and that's also the paper. It doesn't really want stuff to happen, which is a little bit sad. I'm going to add a little bit more green just so we can get a little bit of sense of not just a big blue blob. Now my thermal skirt, it is black, and that's very boring, and especially boring when you're going to make like a picture. So I'm going to go in with Ulle in this set, and first I'm just going to go in purely with this one, and I think I'm actually going to use sort of the same color that I've made here for my jacket, and I'm going to put that on Albert. I'm going to add Helge here, and I'm just going to add my little fancy headband here to keep my ear warm and also to keep my headphones in place. Usually I would say I like to walk like without them, but recently when it's been so cold, I need something else to think about, so I need to have like an audiobook or something so I don't just go thinking about how cold I am. So yeah. Okay, my boots, we can go with Stig, and we can just put a little bit of Ulle in there to make them a little bit darker. Just Stig. So we have a little bit of a difference of just the tongue of the boot. Black part. So Stig. Oh, I'm splattering all about. And then Ole, you can make this really, really, like, you can look at that, that's black. Okay. I should probably have the lid on the brush. Now, I usually have like black pants, but we'll see what color we can add in later. You don't really need to stand out, but I still want to make sure like that you can see that the skirt doesn't go all the way down to the legs. And same thing here, a lot of water so we can have a little bit more of the flow on the paint. I'm going to use this sort of dry brush technique so I can get a little bit of texture in, or that sort of effect. Color variation, so you can see that deep blue sort of poking through, but you can also see like it will be blooming here, but because I'm planning to go in with the color pencils later, I'm not too fussed about it. Let's just add a water to this mix and use that for the pants. Now we can add in some details on the boots. We have a little buckle here, and then my scarf is usually black, but that would be very boring, but yeah, I just realized how boring I dress. Well, nobody's seeing that, so. I think this raw sienna that is Hilda will be quite nice. Well, okay, I don't really have that yellow hair, to be fair. Let's see if we can add in a little bit of blue. I would classify myself as blonde, but yeah, I don't know if I'm quite that golden haired. Before Albert, actually, should we bring out another palette? Yeah. Well, we're here. Where is the palette that I have? Well, I suppose you don't know, so you can't really help me right now. But where I have, whoop, gosh, I think I have, yeah, here. So in this palette, this big one, that is Albert. And I think that would be perfect. And that is a burnt sienna. Something like that. And then he has his nice curly hairstyle. He has a quite unusual color for being a poodle. He is a red color, which I think is just the prettiest, of course, I think. But I do want to add in a little bit more, like in my face. I'm adding Astrid in this little mix here, and I'm just going to add in on the cheek and my nose because I go pretty red when it's cold outside. My face just can't really handle it, and it hurts so much. You think growing up in Sweden you would be used to the weather sort of assaulting your face. No, my face is not used to it. It hurts. Okay, I think that is pretty good. I feel like I can go a bit deeper, to be honest. So that's the last thing I'm going to do. I'm going to add Helge and quite a lot. And I'm going to add in Svea again, and just add so it will be a more pigmented mix. And let's see if that will make me a little bit happier. Yeah, I think that's okay. I'm going to let this dry. I did say that this paper dries very quickly, and it does when it comes to washes, but as you know, watercolor paper can be quite deceptive, and even though you think it is completely dry, you can get blooms and that kind of stuff. So I'm going to leave this overnight because it is already evening here. And I'm going to come back tomorrow to add in the color pencils and everything, just as the radiator is kicking on. So I want to add a little bit more details to this piece, and I'm going to go with my favorites, my colored pencil, the polychromos. Oh, I just love them, and as you can see here, I have them in this kind of little book thing. The sort of neutral browns I go through rather quickly. So But I mean, you can use these for pretty much everything and anything. Also the greens I really like. Whereas the pinks, yeah, and the sort of reddish purplish colors I also use quite a lot, and have changed a few, but yeah, so I just want to add a little bit of texture to my hair here. It looks really big, but in all fairness, it gets quite big in the winter, especially when it's this like cold and you know you walk out and it gets all frosty, and I want to add like a little bit like a rosy cheek and all of that, because my cheek gets really red. Not like the pretty attractive red, it just gets like, it looks like I have boiled my face or something. So this is one of my favorite sort of red-ish colors, and it's really like ish color. It's the Pompeii red, so 191, and I just really like it. You can get some really nice color, but it's like a soft color. That does not look like my lips. Nope, it doesn't. Do I have the eraser? Let's see if we can just like, yeah, I got a little bit carried away over there. I'm getting a little bit carried away, I'm not going to lie, but I mean, it's a sketch in the sketchbook. So, okay, maybe we should go with something that is a little bit more on the pink side. Let's see if we go with this one. It looks a little bit on the yellowish side. Rose Carmine. And you can hear Dagmar. Yep, outside barking together with Uni. And as for Albert, I mean, I could obviously go in with some brown, but I think I want to go in with this one that is terracotta. And just add definition without adding like darkness. And then I will choose another like that is more brown for the shadows. And I'm just going to go over here so we can get a little bit of that floofy feeling. Okay, we can use this candle because I can't light this candle anymore. It is Woodland by Lagerhaus. It is the best smelling candle ever. Details on my jacket and also on his jacket. And here you can see like all of that pretty granulation we got from mixing with Svea, the ultramarine blue. I think I want to use this one that is a permanent green olive for my little head thing here. I'm going to go in with deep cobalt green. And just layer over. And then I'm going to sharpen this and add in sort of like a knitted texture. And I'm not going to do the whole thing, I'm just going to add in where we have like the space for it. I think I'm going to go in with warm grey on this one. So I'm going to start with my darkest one and I'm going to go in with dark sepia. And just add in some shadows for the pants. And just anything really that needs a little bit of an outline. So for example, the hand here. And also this. For the eyes, I'm going to go with cobalt turquoise. No, I don't have this kind of nice piercing blue eyes, but close enough, you know. This then is cinnamon. I'm just going to add in a little bit definition here in the face. And I'm doing that with this very light color. Adding a little bit of a smile. My under eye bags, can't forget those. We are always together. And then to go in with a little bit of extra depth, I'm going to go in with red violet, like where the shadows are at the deepest, like under the nose here. And then the lip. And also here on the eyes. I'm not going all the way, I'm just doing like where the iris is. So we get a little bit darker just there. And I'm also going to use this for the pupil. So here I am very careful with how much definition I'm putting down. There is always a risk when you do this that you just end up looking very old. But I think that is pretty good. Okay, so the nose. He has such a pretty little nose. And then his eye. I'm going to fade out the shadows on the head here. They don't look very good. And I want to have something that is a little bit red because he is pretty red, but I'm going to go with burnt sienna. So if you don't know, Albert, he is my little poodle. He's a red miniature poodle. He turned 1 year in September. Yeah, because I picked him up in November, so beginning of September he was born, and he has had quite eventful life. This November, yeah, pretty much exactly a year after I got him, he got hit by a car. Since then he has had surgery on his spine and he has been learning how to walk again. It's been a journey for both of us, to say the least. Now we are doing rehab. We go into town once a week and then we do like exercises at home. A special little boy. Okay, I think that is pretty good. I got this really pretty set. A lead and a collar. Handmade, soft, nice leather. Like the buckle, it says Albert on it. It's really pretty. Do I use it? Well, I just keep him loose. So it's like that was worth it. But it looks very fancy going to rehab. So let's do a very quick and easy background. I'm just going to paint in a few trees here in the background. I'm just going to mix it here. I'm going to use Disa, which is an opaque blue, and mix it with the dark mix we used for the skirt and all of that. And I'm going to water it down quite a lot. I just want a hint of a shape back here. Like that. Then we actually have another paint in the Allmoge set that is perfect if you want to paint birch trees, like we are doing here, and that is Sten. And I'm just going to add a little bit to my brush and dip here. And like I've said, this paper dries really quickly, which today we can use to our advantage. Dipping in, and we get a little bit of those sort of cauliflowers or blooms, whatever you want to call them. And you get this sort of birch-like texture. And just because I can't stop, we're using the rest of the mix we have of Albert, the color, not the dog. Okay, so here is the finished page of just documenting walking in winter, me and Albert, and some tracks here that you can find. Well, some of them is a bit far-fetched, but I just find it really funny to combining painting and trying different techniques of color matching and all that, and then also learning. I had a lot of fun making this page. I hope you had fun too, watching, learning, just listen to me ramble. I don't know. I had a lot of fun. I have written out the names of the different animals, so if you want to learn how to spell them or what they are called in Swedish, you can just pause and you will see. A repetition: we have a mouse, Albert, a caribou or a reindeer, a roe deer, a fox, a hare, a moose or an elk, lynx, and that both of them because you know they're asymmetrical, wolf, and a wild boar, and a human. So yeah, thank you so much for watching. I hope you have enjoyed it. This set of colors, the Allmoge set, they will be back in the shop in the beginning of April. and the Lost and Found will be out on March 5th. So yeah, okay, that is it. Promise. Thank you so much for watching. I hope to see you soon and that you will have a really nice day.